Hello everyone, this is a video documenting my experience modding an OG Xbox with a Modchip and a 2TB hard drive. This is what a Modchip looks like. It allows you to run a custom BIOS, which is the firmware that dictates how the machine runs. This Modchip is an Aladdin XT Plus 2 clone I got from Amazon. There are 6 screws on the bottom of the Xbox, 2 under the stickers and 1 under each of the 4 feet that require a size T20 bit. You may have noticed that the faceplate of the system is green. This Xbox can be referred to as the mean green machine. After removing the 6 screws on bottom, the lid can be removed and set aside. We need to get to the motherboard. To get to the motherboard, we need to remove the hard drive and the DVD drive. The IDE cable that connects the hard drive and the DVD drive needs to be removed, and so does the power to the hard drive. There is usually one T10 screw holding down the hard drive, which I've already removed, and there are 2 T10 screws holding down the DVD drive. After disconnecting the IDE cable, controller ports, fan, power assembly, and power button assembly, there are 11 screws holding down the motherboard. I need to be careful here, because if I swipe the motherboard with the bit of the screwdriver, it could easily damage it. I also removed the DVD drive power assembly. Then the motherboard can be lifted out. I was looking forward to putting my 3D printed motherboard stand to use. I think the material I printed, PETG, is too strong for the clippy part to bend and grab the motherboard. We give the motherboard a brief dusting with compressed air and assess its condition. There's a particular capacitor called the clock capacitor that is notorious for leaking and corroding the motherboard. Here, we remove it completely and clean the corrosion that leaked out with isopropyl alcohol, also called IPA, a toothbrush, a cotton swab, and compressed air. Next, my intent is to remove the heat sinks on the GPU and CPU and reapply thermal paste. I remove the CPU heatsink and see that the thermal paste is still nice and gooey. I reapply thermal paste on the CPU heatsink. Based on the look of the CPU thermal paste, I decided the GPU heatsink doesn't need new thermal paste. Now to my favorite part, the Modchip. The Modchip connects to the motherboard with a pin header. One pin needs to be removed. I insert the pin header into the LPC and use tape to secure it on the top while it's being soldered from the bottom. I apply flux to the points that will be soldered. This helps the solder spread and connect where it's supposed to. I solder the pins to the LPC. If you're doing this, you need to be sure that you're careful and also that you solder as well as you can. You want clean, strong connections and no unintentional bridges. The pin header install goes well. I determine all the connections are strong and ample. Now we scrub the remaining flux away with IPA and a toothbrush. This is what a good enough pin header install looks like, and here it is from the top where the Modchip attaches. Now we need to tap into the D0 point, which is a tiny pad in a crowded area on the bottom of the motherboard. We add flux. Then I select a wire and cut it to size. I tin the D0 pad, which means adding solder to it first to help it make a good connection. Then I strip an end of my wire. I use my helping hand setup to hold the wire while I flux and tin the end. The wet sponge works to clean the hot end of the soldering iron. The wire is ready to be connected. Same as with the pin header, I solder carefully. It's a delicate process. Mission complete. Next, we connect 2 points on the Modchip that will dictate the Modchip to stay always on while it's in the Xbox. I flux and tin both contacts on the Modchip. I position a tiny wire between them, add more flux, and then I solder. This is what the Modchip looks like with the always on bridge. The Modchip is ready to be installed. I clip the extra length off the D0 wire and remove the insulation from the end. I add flux and tin it. I tin the D0 pad on the Modchip after adding flux. Then I solder the D0 wire to the Modchip. Next, and my favorite part, is mounting the Modchip onto the pin header. You have to be sure you're orienting it correctly as it fits both ways, but only one way is correct. This is what the Modchip looks like, installed on the motherboard. Now, the motherboard is ready to be reinstalled. I lower the motherboard into the display and Ethernet ports on the back, and then lower the front while keeping it under all of the wire assemblies. I secure the motherboard with the 11 size T10 screws. Then I connect the wire assemblies to the motherboard. Next, we've removed the old hard drive to install the new one. There are 4 T15 screws holding the old hard drive into its bay. I remove 2 in my lap and the third and fourth on camera. Then I install the new, fully loaded hard drive in its place, mostly done off camera. I connect the new IDE cable to the motherboard. I connect the DVD drive to the IDE cable and the motherboard and lower it into the machine. I connect the StarTech SATA to IDE adapter to power, then the hard drive, and set the bay inside the Xbox. The Xbox is ready for testing. I boot the Xbox. You can tell the Modchip install was successful by the EvoX logo in the top left of the boot animation. Evolution X is a popular dashboard for modded consoles. The Modchip comes with a basic BIOS that needs to be replaced in an event called flashing the BIOS. To flash the new BIOS to the Modchip, I have a SurBIOS disk that contains the BIOS and the functions to flash it. This step is why I still need the DVD drive. The Xbox recognizing this burned DVD is more proof that the Modchip install was successful. I flash the BIOS and the machine shuts down. The Xbox then boots with a beautiful SurBIOS splash screen indicating a properly flashed BIOS. I remove the SurBIOS disk so that it doesn't load, and at this point the Xbox should boot into my beautiful Xbox Media Center for Gamers dashboard. But the Xbox boots to the stock dashboard. Not good. I restart the Xbox. The custom blue SurBIOS flubber appears, again indicating a successful BIOS flash, but still, we see the stock Xbox dashboard. This hard drive is an exact clone of the hard drive in my other modded Xbox. The config files and dashboard files are identical. The config should be pointing to the right dashboard, and the dashboard executable should be there. I chase my tail renaming the executables and changing the paths in the config files using the File Manager app on the SurBIOS disk. I changed one of the other executables to evox-xbe, which is the first path listed in the config file. I imagined this executable was one of my custom dashboards. It's still booted to the default dashboard. I decide to remove the DVD drive to clear my head and give me time to reassess the situation. I will install this bracket to hold the bezel in place. I disconnect the SATA to IDE adapter from power. I remove the hard drive, DVD drive, and DVD power assembly. I install the DVD bezel brace with 2 T10 screws. As a Hail Mary, I will install a new ASUS IDE cable. It's another 80-wire cable. This one's the same brand as that in my successfully modded Crystal Xbox. The IDE cable was almost certainly not the issue, but when I encounter problems, I throw everything at it that I can think of. I have an idea. Let's install this new drive into my old, faithful, modded Crystal Xbox and see what happens. It works. Xbox Media Center for Gamers loads, and all my games are there, with the same BIOS config on the C drive as before, and the same executable names, so why isn't it working on the green machine? I retested the drive in the mean green machine and got the stock dashboard again. I connected the DVD drive in a side saddle manner as the new IDE cable is less than long, and I reflashed the BIOS. Did it work? No, still the stock dashboard. I used the File Manager to edit the dashboard names again and rebooted. This time, error 21, problem unspecific, or generic error. Alrighty then. I connected the hard drive to my laptop for the first out of a dozen times. Then I renamed dashboards again, hoping I would do something right. Did it work? This time, the Xbox is looping at boot. It can't even find the stock dashboard. After hours more of exhausting similar possibilities, flashing and reflashing the BIOS, and re-verifying the clone drive, I got it back to booting the stock dashboard. Then I had a bright idea. I've heard that some of these Aladdin clones have mislabeled or counterfeit SST chips that can't be properly flashed from an Xbox. Is that the problem? I'm going to swap in the SST chip from my working Modchip into this new Modchip and see if it will boot in the mean green machine. This is the chip I'll be trying. I install the whole thing and power it on. Suspense. If we see the stock Xbox dashboard again, it's a wash. If we see a dashboard with game cover art and descriptions around the art, we've won. It booted correctly. It feels like a breakthrough. It's something to do with the SST chip. I've settled it in my mind. It's that chip. It has to be. I order a different mod chip called an X-Blast Jafar and get a refund for the Aladdin. I can even keep the Aladdin. I guess accepting a return is more trouble than it's worth for this company. I proudly announced to everyone I could that I had solved the issue and that it was a bunk chip and that I couldn't wait for the new chip to arrive to finally finish this Xbox. I didn't give up just yet. I reswap the SST chips and try again to flash the chip on the green machine with different settings. It still boots to the stock dash. I set the Xbox aside to wait. A week later, and the new chip arrives. It's a beautiful chip that's going to solve all of my problems. The pin header and D0 wire are already installed in the Xbox, so this should be easy. My soldering iron is already hot as I remove the chip from its pouch. I should be able to plop this baby in, solder the D0, flash it with the SurBIOS disk, and be a happy camper. This Modchip has its own OS, or operating system, a feature that makes it more versatile than the Aladdin, as you can change BIOS settings, such as fan speed, right from the chip before flashing the BIOS. I'm excited to check it out. I prep to solder the D0 line. I hang it out the side grill for steadiness. I flux and tin it. I clip the Modchip into my helping hands tool and tin the D0 pad on the Modchip. I install the Modchip on the pin header. It feels like it's in there properly, but I give it a look through the side. It was only connected to one row of pins. I reinstall it correctly, then solder the D0 wire to the Modchip. I unplug my soldering iron and prepare to boot and flash the BIOS. I plug the cables in and press the power button. We see XBlast OS, which is good. Only my controller input isn't registering. I Google it. XBlast is known to ignore third-party controllers, like this one. I track down and buy an OEM controller. I'm ready to rock and roll. With the input registering, now I need to find out how to load the SirBIOS disk so that we can flash this BIOS. The CD section of the XBlast OS menu doesn't help. I fiddle around with the settings for a bit, trying to get the DVD to load. It proves futile. I decide I'll load a BIOS on the hard drive and flash from the hard drive with XBlast OS. This proves futile. No matter where I put the BIOS file or what I name it, XBlast OS won't recognize it. I resort to flashing the machine over my network, which I've never done, but it worked like a charm. So now, when we select the 256 kilobyte bank from XBlast OS, what do we see? SirBIOS. But does it load the right dashboard? Oh, I forgot to remove the SirBIOS disk. It automatically loads, which isn't what we wanted, but it's still a good development. We restart the console, sans SirBIOS disk, and try again. We want to see a custom dashboard here, not the stock dashboard. No, it's the stock dashboard. The dashboard that brought me so much joy 20 years ago, before Halo matchmaking, back when it was the biggest thing in the world. Now it's my nemesis. I ask for help in the Xbox Facebook group. While I wait, I try more things. Maybe something in the SirBIOS disk can help. I'll try anything. So I try stuff. I make educated guesses. But I'm stumped. I try rebooting. I'm going to flash the BIOS again, but from the SirBIOS disk this time instead of the network. The flash takes quite a long time. We boot again. It's the stock dash. Phooey. I remove the hard drive and bring it to my PC. I wipe the C drive and reinstall the clone data from my backup. I reinstall the hard drive in the Xbox and boot. XBlast OS appears. I select the proper BIOS bank. When we flash these BIOSes from SirBIOS disk, it changes the boot animation to the blue flubber. Recloning the C drive gives us this Amiga animation instead. I think it's pretty cool. It has a nice sound too, but this TV has no speakers. Stock dash. It's okay, we're gonna figure this out. I quickly reflash the BIOS here, off cam, to no avail. Still got the stock dash. At this time, I was chatting with a friend on Messenger who mods Xboxes. He recommended having an executable file on the C drive named evox-.xbe. Yes, I did that before, but I intended to follow his instructions to a T. So I changed the name of another random dashboard executable file on my C drive to evox-.xbe and booted the machine. SirBIOS logo for the umpteenth time. Blue flubber animation now, per the recent flash. Okay, I'm looking for anything except the stock dashboard here. Anything at all. I'd even appreciate an error code. I'm running on hope, cappuccino, and soldering iron fumes. Yes, Xbox Media Center for gamers, the dashboard we want. Isn't it glorious? Let's see if our games will show up. Yes, all the games are there. I have enough games to last me a lifetime. The funny thing is, I don't play video games. I just collect them, organize them, and mod them like we did today. We did it. Great success! There's one more thing we have to do. That is to enable Quick Boot. This way, my preferred BIOS will load automatically instead of having to select it from the XBlast OS every boot. Quick Boot activated. Thank you for your patience with the glare on the TV. Correct bank selected. Next, I name the BIOS. BIOS named. Now, we reboot the system. It should launch directly into Xbox Media Center for gamers. Yes. It does. Time to button it up for pictures. I attach the lid to the top and screw in the 6 T20 screws on bottom. Time to ogle, ooh, and ah. I like the look of the system with the 3D printed faceplate, and I'm really happy with how this all came out. Also, I believe that the Aladdin chip from the beginning of the video might actually work, if the dashboard files are appropriately named and pointed to. I still don't get why a cloned drive behaved differently in different Xboxes when the config files, paths, and dashboard names were identical between them. If anyone can figure that out, let me know in the comments. Tell me what you think of the project, or just say hello. I read all comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching.